Before bidets were a thing, in Europe, people thought bathing could kill you. Even kings and queens rarely bathed. King Louis XIV of France reportedly took only 2 or 3 baths in his life. Queen Isabella of Castile once bragged she had bathed only twice, at birth and on her wedding day. Ordinary Europeans fared no better. Streets of medieval towns doubled as sewers. People dumped chamber pots out the window. Pigs roamed the alleys eating garbage. Fleas, lice, and disease were part of daily life. Instead of washing, they doused themselves with buckets of perfume. They literally stank under their silk and jewels. Meanwhile, in the Muslim world, the story was very different. Public baths, hammams, were not only places of washing, but centers of social life. In Cordoba, the jewel of Muslim Spain, there were over 900 baths. Every neighborhood had one. Compare that to London. If you were lucky, you might find one. And Cordoba wasn't unique. In Baghdad, the Abbasid capital, there were thousands of baths connected to sophisticated aqueducts. In Damascus, Cairo, Istanbul, wherever Islam spread, Muslims built hammams. Clean water flowed through fountains, wells, and cisterns, making washing part of urban life. The difference in lifestyles was staggering. Muslims are commanded in the Quran, "O you who believe, when you rise to pray, wash your faces and your forearms to the elbow, and wipe over your heads and wash your feet to the ankles." Muslims washed or bathed before prayers, brushed their teeth with miswak, clipped nails, removed dirt, and washed clothes. These were the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad taught, cleanliness is half of faith. He encouraged bathing, using perfume, and wearing clean clothes. In fact, did you know he didn't even like having raw garlic as it could cause bad breath? But let's step back and think about the logic for a second. Prophet Muhammad was an Arab, born and raised in the desert. And in deserts, water is scarce. If anyone had an excuse to avoid washing, it was desert dwellers. Yet Muslims use water daily, in fact multiple times a day. For ritual purification, no prayer is accepted without ablution. Staying clean and pure is not an option for the Muslims. It's a non-negotiable duty, compulsory, a way of life. Meanwhile, Europeans had rivers and streams in abundance, but chose not to use them, fearing they would die if water touched their skin. Doctors in medieval Paris even warned that bathing opened the pores and let in disease, so people avoided water entirely. During the Crusades, Europeans were shocked to see Muslims washing before meals, brushing teeth, even cleaning after using the toilet with water. To them, these foreign habits were strange, yet quietly these practices began to influence Europe, and the benefits were clear. When the Black Death swept across Europe in the 14th century, killing nearly 1/3 of the population, Muslim regions were far less devastated. Why? Hygiene. The regular washing, quarantine practices inspired by the Prophet's teachings. If you hear of a plague in a land, do not enter it. If it breaks out in a land where you are, do not leave it. An emphasis on cleanliness shielded much of the Islamic world from the worst effects. Wherever Muslims went, they brought this culture of cleanliness with them. They built baths, fountains, sewers, aqueducts, and wells. They didn't just cleanse themselves, they cleansed entire cities. By the Renaissance, Europeans began to rediscover bathing and hygiene, not out of coincidence, but because centuries of Muslim influence from Spain, Sicily, the Crusades, and trade had seeped into European life. So next time you step into a shower, remember, if medieval Europe had its way, you'd still be stinking under perfume. Instead, thank a civilization that believed hygiene wasn't a luxury, but half of faith itself.
Like, share, and subscribe to Truth Shall Prevail.